If you enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and support us so we can bring you more valuable stories. I wish you an enjoyable viewing experience. God willing. The Adventures of Emily. A day full of lessons. Emily wakes up early. The sun shines through her window. She stretches her arms and yawns. She feels sleepy but ready for the day. Her alarm clock rings at 6:30 a.m. It is time to get up. Emily gets out of bed and puts her feet on the floor. She is still a little tired, but she smiles because it's a new day. She goes to the bathroom. Emily washes her face with cold water. The water makes her feel fresh. She looks in the mirror and brushes her teeth. After that, Emily combs her hair. She is now ready to start her day. Emily goes to the kitchen. She opens the cupboard and gets a bowl. She takes some cereal and pours it into the bowl. She adds milk and sits at the table. The cereal is crunchy and delicious. Emily eats her breakfast slowly and thinks about the day ahead. It is quiet in the house. Emily enjoys this peaceful time before the busy day starts. After finishing her breakfast, she clears the table. She washes the dishes and puts them away. Emily feels proud of keeping her kitchen clean. Emily checks the time. It's already 7:15 a.m. She needs to get ready to leave for work. She feels a little excited, but also nervous. She knows there is a lot to do today, but she is ready for the challenge. Emily finishes her morning routine and is ready for breakfast. She goes to the kitchen and looks at the clock. It's 7:30 a.m. Emily likes to eat something light for breakfast. She opens the refrigerator and takes out some eggs. She decides to make scrambled eggs. First, she cracks the eggs into a bowl. She adds a pinch of salt and pepper. Then, she whisks the eggs with a fork. The sound of the fork against the bowl is calming. Emily heats a pan on the stove and pours a little oil. She waits for the oil to heat up. When the pan is hot, Emily pours the eggs into the pan. She gently stirs the eggs as they cook. The smell of cooking eggs fills the kitchen. Emily smiles. She loves this moment. The eggs start to look soft and fluffy. After a few minutes, they are ready. Emily puts the eggs on a plate. Next, she makes a piece of toast. She puts the bread into the toaster. The bread pops up, golden brown and crispy. She spreads butter on the toast. Emily loves the crunch of the toast and the softness of the eggs together. She sits at the table with her plate of food. Emily takes a bite of the eggs and toast. It tastes delicious. She drinks a cup of orange juice to go with her meal. The juice is sweet and fresh. Emily enjoys her breakfast while looking out the window. She can see the trees and flowers in her garden. The sun is shining, and the birds are singing. It's a peaceful moment. Emily feels happy and calm. As she finishes her breakfast, Emily feels full and ready to start the day. She cleans up the table and puts the dishes in the sink. Now, she is ready to get dressed and leave for work. After breakfast, Emily checks the time. It's already 7:45 a.m. She needs to leave for work soon. Emily stands up from the table and goes to her room to get dressed. She opens her closet and looks at her clothes. She has many options, but today she decides to wear a simple dress. It's comfortable and looks nice. Emily takes the dress off the hanger and puts it on. She looks at herself in the mirror. I look good today, she smiles. She then picks out a pair of comfortable shoes. They are easy to walk in, which is important because Emily will be walking a lot today. Next, Emily brushes her hair. She takes a comb and runs it through her hair slowly. She wants to make sure it looks neat. When she's done, she sprays a little perfume on her wrist. She likes the sweet smell of the perfume. It makes her feel fresh. Emily then goes to the bathroom. She washes her face with warm water. It feels good to wash away the sleep from her face. After that, she quickly brushes her teeth. Her teeth feel clean and fresh. Now that Emily is dressed and ready, she grabs her bag. She checks inside to make sure she has everything. Her phone, keys, and wallet are there. Emily is always careful not to forget important things. She looks around her room to see if she missed anything. Everything looks good. Emily takes a deep breath. She is excited to start her day. She grabs her coat and puts it on. She is ready to leave. She walks out the door, making sure to lock it behind her. It's a nice morning, and Emily feels good about the day ahead. Emily is ready to leave her house. She steps outside and walks to the bus stop. It is a short walk, just 5 minutes. The weather is nice. The sun is shining, and there's a cool breeze. Emily enjoys walking in the fresh air. It makes her feel awake and ready for the day. When Emily arrives at the bus stop, there are a few people already waiting. Some are standing, and others are sitting on the bench. Emily looks around and notices that everyone seems quiet. Some people are reading their phones, while others are looking at the street. Emily checks the time on her phone. The bus should be here soon. A few minutes later, Emily sees the bus coming down the street. It's big and yellow. The bus stops in front of the station, and the doors open. Emily gets on the bus and scans her bus card. She finds an empty seat by the window and sits down. The bus starts moving. Emily looks out the window and watches the streets pass by. The buildings and trees go by quickly, and soon she is on her way to work. The bus is a little crowded, but it's not too bad. Some people are standing, but most have seats. Emily listens to the sound of the bus. She hears the wheels turning on the road, and sometimes she hears the bus driver talking to the passengers. The bus moves slowly through the city, stopping at different stops. At each stop, more people get on, and some people get off. Emily enjoys the ride. She likes the feeling of being in the bus, watching everything outside. She doesn't have to do anything. She can just relax and enjoy the moment. Sometimes, the bus gets a little noisy with people talking, but Emily doesn't mind. She knows that soon, she will arrive at her stop. After about 20 minutes, the bus slows down. Emily stands up and gets ready to leave. She pushes the button to signal the driver to stop. When the bus stops, Emily gets off. She steps onto the sidewalk and looks around. She is now at the office, ready to start her day. Emily arrives at her office building. She steps off the bus and walks through the doors of the building. The office is busy, and people are already at their desks, working. Emily smiles at a few of her co-workers as she walks past them. She enjoys working with her team. Everyone is friendly and helpful. Emily heads to her desk. She sits down and turns on her computer. The screen lights up, and she opens her emails. There are a lot of messages to check. She reads the important ones first, then replies to a few. Emily is good at answering emails quickly, but she makes sure she doesn't miss any important details. After finishing her emails, Emily opens a new project. Today, she has to work on a design for an advertisement. She looks at the project instructions and begins to sketch some ideas. Emily is a graphic designer, so she uses a computer program to create designs. She likes working on designs because it lets her be creative. The design she is working on is not easy. She needs to make sure everything looks just right. Emily chooses the colors carefully. She thinks about what will look good and what will grab people's attention. She wants the advertisement to be eye-catching and clear. It takes time, but Emily enjoys the process. Around mid-morning, Emily takes a short break. She stands up and stretches. Her back feels a little sore from sitting at the desk for a long time. Emily goes to the kitchen to get a cup of coffee. The kitchen is full of co-workers talking and laughing. Emily smiles at them and picks up her cup. The warm coffee makes her feel better. After her break, Emily gets back to work. She continues working on the advertisement design. The project is challenging, but Emily is determined to finish it. She feels good about her work. She knows that it will look great when she's done. By lunchtime, Emily has made a lot of progress. She is happy with how the design is coming along. Emily is proud of her work and excited to show it to her boss later. She saves her work and closes the computer. It's finally lunchtime. Emily stands up from her desk and stretches. She feels a little tired after working for several hours. She looks at the clock. It's 12:30 p.m. Time for a break. Emily grabs her bag and heads to the office kitchen. Many of her co-workers are already there, eating their lunch. Emily decides to eat a salad today. She opens the fridge and pulls out a plastic container. It's filled with fresh vegetables, lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, and carrots. She also has a small bottle of dressing. Emily puts the salad on the table and takes a fork. She mixes the salad and adds some dressing on top. The salad is healthy, and it makes her feel good. As she eats, Emily chats with her friend Sarah. Sarah is sitting across from her, eating a sandwich. "How's the project going?" Sarah asks. "It's going well," Emily replies. "I'm almost done, just a few more things to fix." Sarah nods and smiles. "You're always so good at your work," she says. Emily feels happy hearing this. It's nice to hear kind words from a friend. While they talk, other people in the kitchen are also having lunch. Some are talking, and others are quietly eating. There's a lot of laughter in the room. Emily enjoys the break and the chance to talk with her friends. It helps her feel relaxed and ready for the rest of the day. After finishing her salad, Emily gets up and puts her empty plate in the sink. She quickly washes it and leaves the kitchen. She feels better after the break. Emily is ready to get back to work. She walks back to her desk and sits down. She opens her computer and starts working again. After lunch, Emily feels refreshed and ready to tackle the rest of her work. She returns to her desk and opens her computer. The clock shows 1:30 p.m. There's still a lot to do. Emily looks at the project she's working on. It's almost finished, but there are a few small details she needs to fix. She looks at the design again and notices a color that isn't quite right. Emily quickly changes it to a lighter shade of blue. The new color looks much better. She smiles and moves on to the next part of the project. As Emily works, she starts to hear more noise in the office. People are talking louder now, and there's a lot of movement. Some people are getting up to go to meetings, while others are talking to their coworkers. The office is busy. Emily focuses on her work, trying not to be distracted by the noise around her. Her phone rings. It's a call from her boss, Mr. Adams. "Emily, I just looked at your design. It looks great, but I need a few changes," he says. Emily listens carefully and writes down the notes he gives her. She knows that sometimes her boss asks for small changes, but it's part of the process. She tells him she will make the changes and send the new design by the end of the day. After the call, Emily gets back to work. She fixes the parts of the design that Mr. Adams mentioned. She works carefully and makes sure everything is perfect. Emily is a perfectionist. She likes her work to be just right. The office gets quieter as the afternoon goes on. People are busy finishing their tasks. Emily works quickly, making the final touches on her project. By 4:30 p.m., she is done. The design is ready. Emily feels proud of her work. She looks at the clock and realizes it's almost time to leave. She saves the project and emails it to Mr. Adams. Done, she thinks to herself. Emily stands up from her desk and stretches her arms. The workday is almost over, and she feels satisfied with what she accomplished. The clock hits 5 p.m. Emily stands up from her desk and stretches. The office is quieter now. Most of her co-workers have already packed up and left for the day. Emily feels proud of the work she did today. She finished the project and sent it to her boss, and now she can relax. Before leaving, Emily checks her to-do list one last time. She likes to make sure everything is done before heading home. She looks at her desk. It's neat and organized. Emily always makes sure to keep her workspace tidy. It helps her think clearly and stay focused. She shuts down her computer and takes a deep breath. The workday is over, and she's ready to leave. Emily grabs her bag, puts on her jacket, and walks to the door. She says goodbye to a few co-workers on her way out. Everyone is looking forward to their evening. Some are going home to rest, while others are heading out for dinner or to meet friends. As Emily walks to the bus stop, she thinks about her day. It was a busy day, but a good one. She feels accomplished, knowing that she completed everything on her list. She's happy with her work and ready to relax at home. When the bus arrives, Emily gets on and finds a seat by the window. The ride home is calm and peaceful. She looks out the window and watches the streets go by. The sky is starting to turn orange and pink as the sun begins to set. Emily enjoys this peaceful moment. It's a time for her to unwind after a busy day. When Emily gets off the bus, she walks the short distance home. The evening air is cool, and she pulls her jacket tighter around her. She feels comfortable and content. She opens the door to her apartment, steps inside, and takes off her shoes. The warm air inside feels cozy after being outside. Emily hangs her jacket on the hook by the door and heads to the kitchen. It's time for dinner. Emily opens the fridge and sees that she has some leftovers from yesterday. She heats up the food and sits down to eat. The food is simple but tasty. As she eats, Emily reflects on her day. It was full of work, but she feels happy and proud of everything she achieved. After dinner, Emily cleans up the kitchen. She washes the dishes and puts everything away. Once everything is clean, she relaxes on the couch with a book. She reads for about 30 minutes, enjoying the quiet time. As the night goes on, Emily starts to feel sleepy. She gets up, goes to the bathroom, and brushes her teeth. Then, she gets into bed and pulls the covers up. The day is over, and Emily feels good about all that she did. She smiles, closes her eyes, and falls asleep, ready to do it all again tomorrow. The sun is shining brightly as Emily wakes up. She opens her eyes and stretches. It's 7 a.m. The room is warm, and the soft sunlight comes through the window. Emily feels well rested and ready for a new day. She takes a deep breath and smiles. It's going to be a good day. Emily gets out of bed and walks to the bathroom. She washes her face with cold water. The water wakes her up and feels refreshing. After washing her face, she brushes her teeth carefully. She likes to keep her teeth clean and healthy. When she's done, she walks to the kitchen to make breakfast. Today, Emily decides to have eggs and toast. She cracks an egg into a pan and turns on the stove. The smell of cooking eggs fills the air, and it makes Emily feel hungry. She carefully fries the egg, making sure it's not too cooked. While the egg is cooking, she toasts a slice of bread in the toaster. When the egg is ready, Emily puts it on a plate and adds the toast. She spreads a little butter on the toast to make it taste even better. Emily sits down at the table and eats her breakfast. The food is simple, but it's delicious. Emily enjoys starting her day with a healthy meal. After breakfast, Emily gets dressed. She picks out a blue shirt and black pants. She chooses clothes that are comfortable and easy to move in. She puts on a pair of shoes that match her outfit. Emily always likes to feel comfortable, but she also wants to look nice for work. Once she's dressed, Emily brushes her hair. She combs it carefully and pulls it into a ponytail. She doesn't want her hair to get in the way while she's working. Emily looks in the mirror and feels happy with how she looks. She's ready to start her day. Before leaving, Emily checks her bag to make sure she has everything. She puts her phone, keys, and wallet inside. She takes a moment to check the time. It's 7:45 a.m. She still has 15 minutes before she needs to leave. Emily grabs her coat and puts it on. She's ready to head out the door. As she walks out of the apartment, Emily takes one last look around. She makes sure the door is locked before she leaves. It's a nice day, and Emily feels excited to begin her day at work. She walks to the bus stop and waits for the bus. The morning air is cool, and she enjoys the quiet before the busy day begins. Emily arrives at the office, feeling ready to start her day. She steps off the bus and walks through the entrance of the building. The air inside is cool, and the lights are bright. She greets the security guard, who nods and smiles at her. Emily is used to this small routine, and it makes her feel welcome at work. As she takes the elevator up to her floor, Emily thinks about her tasks for the day. There are emails to answer, meetings to attend, and projects to finish. She checks her phone to see if there are any important messages from her boss. There is a message from Mr. Adams. Please review the new design draft. Let's discuss it at 10 a.m., it says. Emily quickly adds this to her to-do list. When Emily arrives at her desk, she sits down and turns on her computer. The screen lights up, and she opens her emails. There are a few new messages from clients asking for updates. She replies to each one, explaining the progress of their projects. Emily is good at answering emails quickly, but she always makes sure to give detailed information. As the morning goes on, Emily gets busy. She works on the design draft that Mr. Adams mentioned. She makes a few changes based on his feedback and adds some new ideas. The project is starting to come together, and Emily is happy with how it looks. At 10 a.m., Emily heads to the meeting room. She grabs her notebook and a pen, ready to take notes. Mr. Adams and a few other team members are already there. They greet Emily as she walks in. The meeting begins, and Emily listens carefully as Mr. Adams talks about the design. He asks for a few more changes, and Emily writes down the details. After the meeting, Emily goes back to her desk. She makes the changes that were discussed and sends the new version of the design to Mr. Adams. She feels good about the meeting. The team is working together well, and they are making good progress on the project. By 12 p.m., Emily takes a short break. She stands up, stretches, and goes to the kitchen to grab a cup of water. She chats with a few coworkers while they take their own breaks. It's nice to have a moment to relax and talk. Emily knows that after the break, she will have to dive back into her work, but she's ready. After her break, Emily returns to her desk, feeling refreshed and ready to dive back into her work. She opens her computer and checks the time. It's 1:15 p.m. She still has a lot to do. Emily looks at her to-do list, which is filled with tasks she needs to finish by the end of the day. There's one big task that stands out: completing the final version of the design. Emily begins by reviewing the feedback she received earlier. Mr. Adams had suggested some changes, and now it's time to make those adjustments. Emily looks at the design on her screen. The colors look great, but there are a few areas that need to be improved. She zooms in to focus on the details. The design has to be perfect, and Emily takes her time. She adjusts the layout, moving some text around to make it easier to read. She also adds a few more images to make the design more interesting. As she works, she notices how much time has passed. The clock now shows 3 p.m., and Emily hasn't taken another break yet. But she's determined to finish the design. At 3:30 p.m., Emily feels a little tired. Her eyes are starting to hurt from staring at the computer screen for so long. She decides it's time to take a short break. Emily stands up, stretches, and walks to the kitchen to get a glass of water. She takes a few sips and sits down in the break area to rest for a few minutes. During her break, Emily talks to her friend Sarah, who is sitting nearby. "How's your day going?" Sarah asks. "It's going well," Emily replies. "I'm just finishing up this design. It's taking longer than I expected, but I think it will look great when it's done." Sarah nods. "I'm sure it will be amazing," she says with a smile. Emily feels grateful for Sarah's support. It's nice to have someone to talk to when the workday feels long. After the break, Emily goes back to her desk. She checks her design again. The changes she made are looking good. Emily is almost done. She works quickly to make the final adjustments and saves the new version of the design. At 4:45 p.m., Emily feels a sense of relief. The design is finished, and it looks great. She sends it to Mr. Adams for his approval. Done, she thinks, smiling to herself. Emily stands up from her desk and stretches again. The workday is almost over.
لا تنسوا الاشتراك في القناة والإعجاب بالفيديو.